The cold is a living thing in the outskirts. It seeps through the cracks in my threadbare tunic, a constant, gnawing presence that settles deep in my bones. Here, on the far edge of the Silver Moon Pack's territory, we are the forgotten, the Omegas, the wolfless. I am all three. My name is Alara, and my existence is a whisper, a smudge of gray against the vibrant life of the pack. I keep my head down, my eyes on the muddy path, and try to make myself as small as possible. To be seen is to be noticed, and to be noticed is to be reminded of my place, which is no place at all. The air today is different. It crackles with an energy that has nothing to do with the approaching winter storm. The scent of ozone and anticipation rolls down from the main settlement, a tangible wave of excitement. He is coming. The Alpha King, Kalen of the Ashengard, is making his decennial tour of the vassal packs. Even here, in this forgotten hovel, the weight of his imminent arrival presses down on us. For the others, it is a day of fealty and celebration. For me, it is a day to be even more invisible than usual. I am scrubbing laundry in a tub of near-frozen water behind the communal longhouse when the scent hits me. It is not the familiar earthy mix of my packmates. This is a fragrance of immense power, of ancient forests and gathering storms. Pine needles crushed underfoot, the sharp, clean smell of winter air on a mountaintop, and something else, something primal and commanding that speaks directly to a part of me I never knew existed. My breath catches. My hands still in the icy water, the rough fabric of a tunic forgotten. A hush falls over the entire territory, a collective intake of breath. Through the sparse, leafless trees, I see him. He is not just an alpha. He is the alpha. Power radiates from him in visible waves, a shimmering aura of dominance that makes the very ground tremble. He moves with the predator's grace, his presence so overwhelming it steals the air from my lungs. Our pack alpha, a formidable wolf in his own right, walks a step behind him, head slightly bowed in deference. I should look away. I should retreat into the shadows of the longhouse and wait for this spectacle to pass. But I cannot. My body is frozen, my gaze locked on the approaching king. He is talking to our alpha, his voice a low rumble that vibrates through the soles of my worn boots. And then he stops. His head turns, his silver eyes, as sharp and clear as chips of ice, scanning the area. They pass over the bowing pack members, over the buildings, and then they land on me. For a heartbeat, the world stops. The wind dies. The chattering of the pack ceases. There is only the invisible, electrifying cord that snaps taut between us. The scent of pine and winter storm intensifies, flooding my senses, drowning me, and with it, a new scent emerges. One I have never smelled before, but recognize with a certainty that shakes my soul. Mate. The word is not a thought. It is a primal truth that erupts from the deepest core of my being. A strange, dormant part of me, a part I thought was dead or never born, stirs. It is not a wolf, not like the others have. It is something quieter, older. It uncoils in my chest, a flicker of warmth in the desolate cold of my life. Hope, so fierce and unexpected it feels like pain, blooms in my chest. Me? A wolfless Omega, the mate to the Alpha King? It is impossible. It is a dream. Kalen takes a step toward me, his eyes wide with a mixture of shock and something else, something I dare not name. The bond is a living thing between us now, a roaring fire of recognition and need. I can feel his power, his authority, but I can also feel his shock, his disbelief. He sees me, truly sees me, a girl in rags with chapped hands and haunted eyes. And for a single, glorious moment, none of it matters. The universe has chosen, his guards tense. His advisor, a stern-faced elder with a cruel twist to his lips, steps forward and murmurs something in his ear. Kalen's expression hardens. The flicker of wonder in his eyes is extinguished, replaced by a mask of cold duty. He looks from me to his advisor, then back to me. I can feel the war inside him through the fragile new bond, his instinct warring with his logic, his duty, his pride. The hope in my chest begins to curdle into dread. I see the calculation in his eyes. He is the Alpha King. He needs a strong Luna, a wolf of high breeding and immense power to rule by his side, to bear him strong heirs. He does not need a wolfless Omega from the dregs of a vassal pack. He sees my threadbare tunic, my lowly status, my lack of an inner beast. He sees a flaw, a weakness, a mistake. He takes another step, closing the distance until he stands before me. The proximity is dizzying. The scent of him is an intoxicating promise of everything I have never had: belonging, safety, love. I can feel the desperate pull of the bond, urging us to touch, to claim, to complete what fate has decreed. I raise my eyes to his, my heart a frantic drum against my ribs, begging him with every beat, "Please, see me." He looks down at me, his face carved from stone. The pack is watching, silent and rapt. This moment will define my life. It will either be my salvation or my utter destruction. When he speaks, his voice is not the low rumble from before. It is cold, sharp, and utterly devoid of emotion. Each word is a shard of ice piercing my heart. I, Kalen of the Ashen Guard, Alpha King of all packs, do not accept this bond. A collective gasp ripples through the crowd. The words hang in the air, monstrous and irrevocable. The bond between us, that beautiful, fiery new thing, shrieks in agony. It feels like a physical tearing, like my soul is being ripped in half. A pain so profound, so absolute, erupts in my chest that I stagger back, clutching at myself as if to hold my splintering pieces together. The warmth that had flickered to life is snuffed out, replaced by an Arctic cold that is far worse than the winter air. My inner self, that quiet, ancient thing, lets out a silent scream of betrayal. Rejected. Kalen's jaw is tight, a muscle twitching in his cheek. For a fleeting second, I see a flash of agony in his own eyes, a mirror of my own. Rejecting a fated mate is an agony for the rejecter as well. But he shoves it down, burying it under a mountain of pride and duty. His advisor gives a nearly imperceptible nod of approval. "You are an Omega," Kalen continues, his voice ringing with the finality of a judge passing sentence. "You are wolfless. You are not fit to be a pack member, let alone a Luna. Your presence here is a weakness, a stain on the Silver Moon pack." He turns his gaze to our Alpha, his voice dropping into a growl of command. "She is an aberration. Cast her out. She is banished from all packlands, effective immediately. If she is found on shifter territory after sundown, she is to be hunted as a rogue. Banishment. It is a death sentence. To be cast out into the human world with nothing, no skills, no money, no identity. It is to be erased. The pain in my chest is so immense I can no longer breathe. The faces of the pack members, people I have known my whole life, turn away from me. Some show pity, most show scorn. All show relief that the king's displeasure is focused on me and not them. I am a sacrifice to his pride. I look at Kalen one last time, my vision blurring with tears I refuse to let fall. I want him to see the devastation he has wrought. I want him to remember my face. He meets my gaze, his own expression a storm of conflict, but his stance is unyielding. He has made his choice. He has chosen his throne over his soul. He has chosen power over me. Without another word, he turns his back on me, the magnificent cape he wears swirling around him like a final dismissive gesture. He walks away, leaving me shattered in the mud. The bond stretches thin, a screaming, agonizing thread that refuses to break completely, connecting me to the source of my ruin. My alpha, his face grim, gestures to two of his enforcers. They grab my arms, their touch rough and impersonal. They do not let me gather my meager belongings. They do not let me say goodbye to the few people who showed me kindness. They drag me through the settlement, past the averted eyes of my former pack, and to the edge of the territory line. They shove me forward, and I stumble, falling to my knees onto the cracked asphalt of a human road. "Do not return," one of them snarls. "Next time, we will not be so merciful." Then they are gone, melting back into the woods, leaving me alone with the wail of the wind and the gaping, bleeding wound where my heart used to be. The sun begins to set, casting long, cold shadows. I am in exile. I am nothing. And as the last light fades, the agonizing thread of the bond pulses with his fading presence, a constant, torturous reminder of the king who broke me. The first few months are a blur of hunger and cold. I drift through human cities like a ghost, sleeping in alleyways and under bridges, wrapped in the thin tunic I was exiled in. The human world is a cacophony of smells and sounds that assault my heightened senses. Gasoline, garbage, cooked food I cannot afford, the indifferent sense of thousands of people who rush past without seeing me. I learn to beg, the humiliation a small price to pay for a piece of bread. The constant thrumming ache in my chest is my only companion, the phantom limb of the rejected bond, a source of unending torment. I find a coat in a bin behind a charity shop. It is thin and worn, with a tear in one sleeve, but it is the most valuable thing I own. It is my shield against the biting wind and the colder stares of strangers. It is my home. I clutch it around myself, a fragile barrier against a world that does not want me. One night, the cold is worse than ever. A biting sleet is falling, turning the filthy city snow into a treacherous slush. I have found a small alcove behind a bakery, drawn by the faint, tantalizing scent of baking bread and the trickle of warm air from a vent. I am shivering so violently my teeth ache. The pain from the bond is a low, throbbing fire, and I wonder, not for the first time, if it would be easier to just lie down in the snow and let the cold take me. Then I see her, an old woman huddled at the far end of the alley. She is wearing even less than I am, just a thin, ragged dress. Her skin is blue with cold, and her shivering is a continuous, desperate tremor. Her eyes are closed, her face etched with a quiet despair that I recognize intimately. She looks closer to the end than I am. Something inside me shifts. That quiet, ancient part of me, the part that screamed in betrayal, now whispers a different word: survive. But it is followed by another unexpected urge: protect. I look at my coat, my only possession of value, my only source of warmth. Then I look at the old woman who seems to have given up completely. My own suffering is immense, a universe of pain contained within my skin. But seeing her, I realize I have one thing she does not: the will to see another sunrise. And in that moment, the choice is clear. Holding onto the coat means surviving the night, But what is the point of surviving if I lose the last shred of the person I was? I stand up, my joints protesting, and walk over to her. She does not open her eyes. I gently, carefully shrug off my coat. The icy sleet immediately soaks my tunic, and the cold bites into me with renewed viciousness. I wrap the coat around the woman's frail shoulders, tucking it in around her neck. She flinches, her eyes fluttering open. They are a startling pale blue, cloudy with age, but sharp with intelligence. She looks at the coat, then at me, my thin frame trembling in the freezing rain. Confusion wars with gratitude on her face. "You'll freeze," she rasps, her voice thin and papery. "So will you," I say, my own voice hoarse. "You need it more." A strange expression crosses her face. She reaches out a trembling, bony hand and places it on my arm. Her touch is surprisingly warm. A tiny spark of energy, of golden light, seems to pass from her to me. It is not the overwhelming power of a shifter, but something else, something subtle and warm. It travels up my arm and settles in my chest, a single glowing ember in the vast cold emptiness left by Kaelin. "Kindness in the face of oblivion," she murmurs, her gaze intensely focused on me. "That is a rare power, child." The warmth spreads, pushing back the gnawing cold in my bones, quieting the ache of the bond for a precious second. It is a feeling I have not had in so long, a flicker of strength that comes from within. I gave away my only protection, yet I feel stronger than I have in months. I have hit the absolute bottom of my existence, and in that abyss, I made a choice. I chose not to become as cold as the world that cast me out. I chose to survive, but not at the cost of my soul. And as the old woman looks at me with an unreadable, ancient wisdom in her eyes, I feel the first, faint stirring of a power I never knew I possessed. A dormant fire that has nothing to do with a wolf and everything to do with the light I refuse to let die. 3 years pass in the cold silence of the human world. The old woman, whose name was Lyra, was not a beggar. She was an elder of a hidden community, a sanctuary for those with latent abilities tucked away in the remote, mist-shrouded mountains that bordered the human lands and the shifter territories. She had been testing the outside world, searching for embers of magic in a world that had largely forgotten it. In my act of desperate kindness, she saw a fire. She brought me to her home, the citadel of the Veiled Moon. It was a place outside of pack law and human knowledge, a haven for the descendants of ancient bloodlines, wielders of arts that the wolf shifters, in their physical prowess, had dismissed as myth. Here, my flaw was re-examined. I was not wolfless. My human and shifter lineage had combined in a rare and potent way. The part of me that had stirred was not a dormant wolf. It was something far older, far more powerful. I am a lunar scion, a wielder of moonfire, a power thought to have been extinguished for centuries. The citadel became my forge. Lyra became my mentor. The training was the most grueling ordeal of my life, making my suffering in the city seem like a distant dream. I learned to draw power from the moon, to shape its cold, silver light into shields of force and blades of energy. The pain of the broken bond was a constant, agonizing hum beneath the surface of my new life. A wound that would not heal. I learned to use it. I channeled the unending ache, the betrayal, the rage, and I forged it into power. The moonfire that answered my call was not just light, it was tempered by my suffering, given a sharp, unforgiving edge. I excelled. The quiet, shy Omega was burned away, leaving behind someone new, someone strong. I learned strategy from their retired warriors and diplomacy from their council members. I earned the respect of a community that valued inner strength over brute force. They did not see a flawed outcast. They saw a leader. In 3 years, I rose from a shivering refugee to the Citadel's chosen protector, its warden. I commanded its small but potent force of mages and warriors. I was no longer Ilara the rejected. Here, I was Warden Ilara. In my new role, I met Lysander. He was the Citadel's chief healer, a man whose magic was rooted in the earth. His presence was as calming as his abilities. He smelled of chamomile, old parchment, and warm sunlight, a stark contrast to the memory of pine and winter that still haunted my dreams. He was kind, patient, and he looked at me with a gentle respect that healed small fractures in my soul I did not know were there. He saw my scars, the perpetual shadow in my eyes, and he did not flinch. He offered me a quiet companionship, a safe harbor from the storm that still raged within me. He represented a future, a peaceful one, a life where I might one day forget the agonizing pull of the mate I could never have. He made me feel worthy of goodness, a feeling I had long since abandoned. My name is Kaelin, and I am a king ruling over a kingdom of ghosts. 3 years ago, I stood in the mud of a minor pack's territory and broke the most sacred law of our people. I broke myself. I rejected my fated mate. My wolf has not let me forget it for a single moment. He is a constant, raging beast beneath my skin, a separate consciousness of pure, primal fury directed entirely at me. Fool, he snarls in my mind when I tried to sleep. Broke us, lost her. The nights are the worst. Sleep offers no escape. Only nightmares of her haunted eyes and the sound of my own voice delivering the killing blow. I have not known a full night's rest since that day. Food tastes like ash in my mouth. My advisors, the same ones who urged me to cast her aside for the good of the kingdom, now look at me with concern. They see the hollowness in my eyes, the way my power, once a roaring inferno, now sputters like a dying flame. An alpha without his Luna is an incomplete being. My weakness radiates outward, seeping into the land itself. Our harvests are less bountiful, our warriors less decisive, our borders less secure. I tried to move on. I entertained high-born females from powerful packs, searching for a suitable queen. But it is impossible. The phantom scent of her, night-blooming jasmine and rain, clings to me, a ghost on the wind that no other fragrance can overpower. When another female touches me, my skin crawls, and my wolf recoils with a vicious snarl. Not her, never her. The bond, though rejected, remains. It is a chain that moors me to her, a conduit for unending pain. Sometimes, late at night, I feel a sharp, stabbing echo of what must be her own agony, and the guilt is a physical weight that brings me to my knees. My pride cost me everything. I saw a wolfless Omega and feared the weakness she would bring to my bloodline. I listened to the whispers of politics and ignored the roar of my own soul. I was a coward, and now my kingdom pays the price for my arrogance. And a new price is being exacted. A shadow has fallen over the borders. Strange creatures, things of nightmare and legend have begun to appear. They are called umbral beasts, beings of pure shadow and hunger that drain the life from the land and the magic from my people. They are fast, strong, and our warriors' claws and teeth seem to pass right through them. They are drawn to the weakness in my kingdom, to the void I created when I cast Ilara out. My seers have grown frantic, their visions filled with darkness and ruin. They speak of only one hope, a formidable power that has awoken in the veiled mountains, a light that is the antithesis of the growing dark, a sorceress of immense strength, they say, a warden who commands moonfire. They tell me I must seek an alliance. I must go to this warden, this stranger, and beg for her help to save the kingdom I doomed with my own foolish hands. I agree without hesitation. Any chance to save my people, any penance for my sin, I will take it. So I prepare for the journey, a king going as a supplicant, to plead for the aid of a mysterious sorceress, unaware that I'm about to walk directly back into the heart of the storm I created 3 years ago. The ghost I have been chasing is about to become terrifyingly real. The journey to the veiled mountains is tense. The umbral beasts are growing bolder, their attacks more frequent. We lose 2 guards in a skirmish at the base of the foothills, their bodies left as desiccated husks, drained of all life. The creatures are vulnerable only to pure silver, and our supply of silvered weapons is dwindling. The fear in my pack is a scent I can taste on the back of my tongue, acrid and sharp. It is the scent of my failure. When we finally reach the coordinates the seers gave us, we find nothing but a sheer cliff face shrouded in mist. There is no path, no gate. My guards look at me, their expressions a mixture of confusion and doubt. My wolf, however, is agitated, pacing restlessly in my mind. He senses something closer. "Announce yourselves," a voice echoes from the stone itself. It is feminine, clear, and colder than the mountain peaks. It holds an authority that rivals my own. I step forward, my alpha presence suppressed into a respectful neutrality. I am Alpha King Kalen of the Ashen Guard. I have come to seek an audience with the warden of the citadel. We request an alliance against the umbral beasts. There is a long silence. I can feel us being watched, scrutinized by an unseen power. Then, with a low grinding sound, a section of the cliff face dissolves into shimmering mist, revealing an archway carved from glowing silvery stone. 2 figures stand guard within it, clad in armor that seems woven from moonlight. They do not bow. They simply watch us, their hands resting on the hilts of their curved swords. "The warden will see you," one of them says, her voice as crisp as her commander's. "You alone. Your guards will remain here." My men growl in protest, but I silence them with a look. I came as a supplicant. I will play by their rules. I hand my cloak and sword to my beta, ignoring his worried expression, and walk through the archway. The air inside is different, humming with a clean, potent energy. The citadel is built into the heart of the mountain, a breathtaking structure of luminous stone and cascading waterfalls. Its inhabitants move with a quiet purpose, their gazes curious but respectful. This is a place of immense controlled power. I am led through halls that whisper with ancient magic, up a winding staircase to a pair of large, silver-inlaid doors. The guards push them open and gesture for me to enter. I step into a high-ceilinged chamber that seems to be a combination of a throne room and a war council. A massive table carved from a single piece of obsidian dominates the center, a map of the surrounding lands etched into its surface. At the far end of the room, on a simple, elevated dais, sits the warden. She is cloaked in shadow, her face obscured. All I can see is the silhouette of a woman sitting with a regal stillness that commands the entire room. Power rolls off her in cool, deliberate waves, a stark contrast to the fiery dominance of an alpha. This is the power of a deep, unmoving ocean. This is the sorceress who can save my kingdom. Alpha King Kalen, she says. Her voice is the same one from the cliff face, cold and controlled, but hearing it in person sends a strange shiver down my spine. It is familiar, though I cannot place it. You come seeking my aid. I do, Warden, I say, keeping my voice steady. The umbral beasts threaten to consume my lands. My seers spoke of your power, of moonfire. They say it is the only thing that can destroy them. I offer anything in return for your alliance. Resources, territory, my fealty. She is silent for a long moment. Then, she rises from her chair and descends the dais, moving with a fluid grace that is achingly familiar. With each step she takes out of the shadows and into the soft, magical light of the chamber, my heart begins to beat faster. My wolf, who has been a raging tormentor for 3 years, suddenly falls silent, holding his breath in anticipation. She stops a dozen feet from me. The light falls upon her face, and the world stops. It is her. Older, yes. Her face is thinner, sharper, the softness of youth replaced by the hard lines of command and suffering. Her eyes, once haunted and timid, are now piercing and filled with a cold fire. But it is her. It is Alara. The breath is stolen from my lungs. My mind refuses to process what my eyes are seeing. The wolfless Omega I cast out, the girl I left for dead, is the powerful sorceress I have come to beg for help. The irony is a physical blow, knocking the air from my chest. And then I smell it, faint, almost completely masked by the scent of ozone and cold stone that now clings to her. But it is there, the delicate, unforgettable fragrance of night-blooming jasmine and rain. The bond, the agonizing, stretched thin thread that has tormented me for 1,000 nights, explodes. It roars back to life with the force of a tidal wave, a cataclysm of sensation and emotion. It is not the gentle recognition of before. This is a violent, desperate conflagration. Agony, regret, and a longing so profound it borders on madness crash over me. My knees feel weak. A strangled sound escapes my throat. Mine. My wolf screams in my head, a sound of pure, unadulterated triumph and despair. Found her. Alara's expression remains like ice, but I see it. I see the flicker in her eyes as the bond reignites. I see the subtle tightening of her jaw as she feels the same tidal wave that is drowning me. She feels it, and she is fighting it. Her control absolute. Ilara, I breathe, the name of prayer and a curse on my lips. I take a step toward her, my hand reaching out instinctively. That is not my name, she says, her voice cutting through the storm in my head, each word a perfectly aimed dagger. I am Warden Ilara of the Citadel, and you will address me as such. The coldness of her tone is a physical slap. She stands before me, no longer a shivering outcast in the mud, but a queen in her own right, cloaked in power I cannot comprehend. The dynamic between us has been utterly and irrevocably inverted. I am the beggar. She is the one who holds all the power. And the chasm between us is not just one of pride or politics anymore. It is a canyon carved by my own cruelty, and I have no idea how to cross it. The hope of saving my kingdom is now tangled with the impossible, desperate need to reclaim the soul I threw away. And from the glacial stillness in her eyes, I know she will make me pay for every inch of that crossing. I am a fortress. I have spent 3 years building these walls, mortaring them with pain and discipline. My heart is a vault, locked and barred. When I heard Kalen's voice through the stone, the first brick crumbled. When he walked into my council chamber, the foundation cracked. When he breathed my name, the entire fortress imploded. The bond is a supernova in my chest. All the agony I had carefully packed away, all the rage I had forged into power, all the longing I had buried under layers of duty, it all erupts. It is a physical assault, a roaring inferno that threatens to burn my hard-won control to ashes. I want to collapse. I want to scream. I want to run to him and beat my fists against his chest until my hands bleed. Instead, I stand my ground. I channel the maelstrom of emotion back into the cold, quiet core of my power. I let it fuel the ice in my voice. Seeing him is like seeing a ghost, but he is the one who looks haunted. The arrogant king is gone, replaced by a man hollowed out by a suffering I know intimately, because I feel its echo every second of every day. There is a grim satisfaction in it, a dark and bitter justice. But it does nothing to soothe the screaming of my own soul. Warden, he corrects himself, his voice thick with a pain he can no longer hide. I did not know. Know what, Alpha King? I ask, my tone glacial. That the Omega you discarded could be useful? Or that she could survive what you did to her? He flinches as if I had struck him. Good. I want him to feel it. I want him to feel a fraction of the humiliation I felt that day. Make him bleed, a vicious part of me whispers. Make him kneel. Both, he says, his voice raw. Ilara, you are here to discuss an alliance, I interrupt, turning my back on him to walk toward the war table. It is an act of self-preservation. Looking at him, at the naked anguish on his face, is too dangerous. The umbral beasts are a threat to my people as well as yours. They are drawn to concentrations of magic. Your kingdom is weak, a void that pulls them in. My home is a beacon that attracts them. Our purposes align. I can feel his gaze on my back, a physical weight. The bond hums between us, a current of raw, unspoken emotion. It wants me to turn, to go to him. It screams at me that my mate is here, suffering, broken. I ignore it. What are your terms? He asks, his voice regaining a sliver of its command, the king trying to reassert himself. I turn back to him, a cold smile touching my lips. My terms are simple. I will lead the combined force. My strategies will be followed without question. My people will be given sanctuary and supplies from your storehouses. And you, I say, pinning him with my gaze, will answer to me. In all matters concerning this war, you are not a king. You are my subordinate. I expect him to refuse. I expect his alpha pride to rear its head, to balk at being commanded by anyone, let alone the woman he publicly shamed. It is an impossible demand, designed to make him leave. I accept, he says without a moment's hesitation. His immediate capitulation throws me off balance more than any argument could have. He looks at me with those silver eyes, now stripped of all arrogance, and there is nothing but desperate sincerity in them. I will agree to any terms, Warden. I will do whatever you ask. His submission is not a political maneuver. It is personal. It is the beginning of a penance, and we both know it. This sudden shift in the script unnerves me. I was prepared for a battle of wills. I was not prepared for his complete and utter surrender. Very well, I say, forcing my voice to remain steady. We will begin planning at dawn. You and your guards will be given quarters. Do not stray from them. I turn to one of my sentinels. Escort the Alpha King. I do not watch him leave. I cannot. I stand frozen, listening to his footsteps recede, each one a hammer blow against my fractured heart. The moment the doors close behind him, my knees buckle. I grip the edge of the obsidian table to keep from falling, my knuckles white. The fortress has been breached. The king is in my citadel. And the war I must now fight is not just against the shadows in the wild, but against the one in my own soul. Later that evening, Lysander finds me in the observatory, staring at the full moon. Its light has always been a comfort, a source of my strength. Tonight, it feels cold and distant. Your walls are trembling, Ilara, he says softly, coming to stand beside me. He does not touch me, ever respectful of my space. His gentle chamomile scent is a stark contrast to the phantom smell of pine that now clings to the air, reignited by Kalen's presence. He is here, I whisper, the words feeling like a betrayal to this peaceful life I have built. I know, Lysander says. I saw him, the Alpha King. He is quiet for a moment, the mate who rejected you. It is not a question. He is a healer of the soul as much as the body. He has always sensed the source of my deepest wound. I nod, unable to speak. His pain is a blight on the magic of this place, Lysander continues, his gaze thoughtful. I have never felt anything like it. It is a self-inflicted curse. He is dying from the inside out. He deserves it, I say, the words sharp and bitter. Perhaps, Lysander agrees. But you, Ilara, what do you deserve? He turns to me, his expression serious. You have built a new life here. You have found strength and purpose. You do not owe him anything, not your forgiveness, and certainly not your pain. This alliance will force you together. Are you prepared for that? I am the warden of this citadel, I say, the words a shield. I will do what is necessary to protect my people. I am not asking the warden, he replies gently. I am asking Ilara. His question hangs in the air between us, unanswered. I look away from his compassionate gaze, back to the cold, distant moon. I do not know the answer. I do not know if the girl he's asking still exists. The alliance is a crucible. We are forced into constant proximity, planning strategies around the war table, riding side by side on patrols. The tension is a living entity, a third presence in every room we share. My people watch him with suspicion, their loyalty to me absolute. His warriors watch me with a mixture of awe and resentment, confused by their king's deference to this strange sorceress. Kalen is a ghost of the man I remember. He is quiet, observant, and follows my orders to the letter. He anticipates my needs, bringing me food when I forget to eat, taking the most dangerous position in our formations. He is trying to protect me, to atone in 1,000 small, unspoken ways, and it is infuriating. His quiet penitence is more disarming than any arrogant demand would have been. Every glance, every accidental brush of our hands sends a jolt of the bond through me, a painful reminder of what he threw away. I remain cold, distant, professional. I am the warden. I am in command. But at night, in the solitude of my chambers, the fortress crumbles, and I am just a girl whose soul is screaming for its other half. My own inner self, the core of my moonfire, is in turmoil. It sees his weakened state, his genuine remorse. Ours, it whispers, a possessive primal urge. Broken. Fix him. I silence it with a will of iron. He chose to break us. He does not deserve to be fixed. One evening, after a brutal skirmish that cost us 3 of my warriors, we are alone in the war tent. The map is laid out between us, but we are not looking at it. The air is thick with grief and exhaustion. I am staring into the flame of a candle, my control frayed. "This is my fault," Kalen says, his voice a low, broken rasp. "Their deaths, the weakness of my kingdom. It all comes back to me, to that day." I say nothing, my jaw tight. I will not give him the comfort of a denial. He walks around the table until he stands before me, his presence overwhelming in the small space. I force myself to meet his gaze. The self-loathing I see there is a bottomless pit. "I need you to know why," he says, his voice cracking. "Not as an excuse. There are no excuses, but as a confession. I was a new king. My father had ruled through fear, and the council was powerful, whispering that I was too young, too soft. They saw you, a wolfless Omega, and they saw it as proof of my weakness. They told me the kingdom needed a strong, pure-blooded Luna to secure my reign, that a bond with you would be a poison that would destroy us all." He looks down at his hands, his fists clenched. I was a coward. I was terrified of failing my people, of losing my father's legacy, of being seen as weak. So I chose pride. I chose the throne. I sacrificed you, the most sacred gift the goddess ever gave me, for a crown. And in doing so, I became the very thing I feared, a weak king who is failing his people. Tears are tracking down his face, cutting clean paths through the grime of the battle. He does not wipe them away. My wolf has been punishing me ever since. I live in a hell of my own making, Ilara. Every breath I take is a reminder of my failure. Every time I look at you, so strong, so powerful, I see the queen I threw away, and I know I'm not worthy to even stand in your presence. He drops to his knees. The sound of his armor hitting the ground echoes in the silent tent. He bows his head, his entire body trembling with the force of his confession. He is the Alpha King, and he is kneeling in the dirt before me. "I do not ask for your forgiveness," he chokes out, his voice muffled. "I have no right. I needed you to know the truth of my weakness, the truth of my shame." I stand there, frozen, the ice around my heart cracking under the heat of his raw, unvarnished agony. This is what I wanted. I wanted him to kneel. I wanted him to bleed. But seeing it now, it brings me no triumph, only a profound, shared sorrow. The man kneeling before me is not the arrogant king who broke me. He is a man utterly destroyed by his own mistake. The grovel has begun, not as a tactic, but as a desperate outpouring of a broken soul. And I am utterly unprepared for the wave of compassion that threatens to drown me. The days that follow his confession are heavier, the air between us charged with his unspoken plea. He has laid his soul bare, and now he waits, not for my forgiveness, but for my judgment. His every action is one of service and protection. He is the first to wake, the last to sleep, his eyes constantly scanning our surroundings for threats to me. He is trying to prove with his body what he has admitted with his words. Lysander watches this unfold with a quiet, sad wisdom. He sees the way I look at Kalen when I think no one is watching. He sees the cracks in my armor. One afternoon, as I am tending to a wound I received in a patrol, a scratch from an umbral beast that refuses to heal properly, he approaches me in the healer's tent. "The shadow magic is deep in that cut," he says, his voice gentle as he examines my arm. "It resists my earthen power." He prepares a poultice of silver-laced herbs. Only a power of equal and opposite intent can truly cleanse it. His power, combined with yours. I pull my arm back. I do not need his help. Elara, Lysander says, his gaze soft but unwavering, you have been fighting two wars, one against the Umbral and one against yourself. I have watched you. I have hoped that the peace you found here would be enough. I hoped I could be enough. He sighs, a sad, resigned sound. But I cannot compete with a fate that has been written in the stars, no matter how broken. I see the way the bond still pulls you. It is a scar, but it is a part of you. His suffering is genuine. The man he is now is not the boy who hurt you. He takes my hand, his touch warm and steady. I want your happiness, Ilara, more than anything, and I have come to realize that I cannot be the source of it. My path is here, to heal and protect our people. Your path, it lies through him. Whether you choose to walk past him or with him, you must walk it. But do not let me be a reason you hesitate. I will not be your second choice, and you deserve a life where you do not have to choose safety over your own soul. His words are a gift of freedom, but they feel like a weight. He is releasing me with grace and dignity, stepping aside not out of defeat, but out of a profound respect for me and for the cosmic pull of the bond. He is being the better man, the safer choice, and in doing so, he is forcing me to confront the terrifying, chaotic truth of what I really want. He leaves the tent, and the clean, comforting scent of him fades, leaving only the ever-present, haunting smell of pine and winter's storm in its wake. The final battle comes without warning. The leader of the umbral beasts, a towering entity of shifting shadows and malevolent red light, leads a full-scale assault on our main camp, deep within the blighted woods. It is a maelstrom of chaos and fear. The air grows unnaturally cold, and the very light seems to be devoured by the encroaching darkness. I am at the center of the fight, a whirlwind of silver moonfire. My blades of light are the only thing that can permanently destroy the lesser beasts, and their leader knows it. It focuses on me, its shadowy form coalescing into something vaguely wolf-like, a dark mockery of Kalen's kind. It is faster and stronger than anything we have faced. Kalen fights at my side, a blur of silver-clawed fury. He is no longer my subordinate. He is my other half, moving in perfect, unspoken sync with me. Where I erect a shield of light, he meets the attack on the other side. Where he falters, my moonfire lashes out to cover him. The bond between us is no longer a source of pain. It is a conduit for combat data, for shared instinct. It is a weapon. The Umbral Lord lunges, its claws of pure shadow aimed at my heart. I raise a shield, but the impact is immense, shattering my concentration and sending me stumbling back. The beast is too powerful. It rears back for the final, killing blow. There is no time to raise another shield, no time to dodge. This is the end. I close my eyes, a strange sense of peace washing over me. But the blow never lands. I open my eyes to see Kalen's back. He has thrown himself in front of me, taking the full force of the shadow claws in his chest. A terrible, wet, tearing sound echoes in the sudden silence of the battlefield. He grunts, a deep, guttural sound of agony, and the Umbral Lord's arm is ripped free from his body. Black ichor pours from the wound, and he stumbles back, his red eyes wide in shock. Kalen sways on his feet. His own blood, dark and rich, pouring from the 3 massive gashes across his torso. The wounds are smoking, the shadow magic already eating away at his life force. He is dying, He sacrificed himself for me. He turns his head, his silver eyes finding mine. They are filled with pain, but also with a fierce, unwavering love. It was always your life over mine, he rasps. Then, with the last of his strength, he does the unthinkable. He falls to his knees before me, right there in the heart of the battle, surrounded by my people and his. He lowers his head and exposes the arch of his throat, the ultimate act of submission, the final, absolute grovel. An alpha bearing his throat to another is an offer of their life, their power, their very soul. My life is yours, Alara. He chokes out, his blood staining the forest floor. It always was. Forgive me or not, kill me, leave me to die. The choice is yours, Luna. It was always yours. The world narrows to the space between us. The sounds of the battle fade away. There's only the sight of him, the Alpha King, bleeding out at my feet, offering me his life as the ultimate proof of his change. He is not just atoning for his sin. He is living out the truth of the bond, that the mate's life is more precious than one's own. My heart, the organ I had encased in ice and steel, shatters into a million pieces. The rage, the bitterness, the pain I have nursed for 3 long years, it all evaporates in the face of this absolute, selfless act. This is the man he has become, a man worthy of the title of mate, a man I love. Ours, the power inside me roars, no longer a whisper but a deafening demand. Heal, claim, mine. My human mind and my ancient power are finally in agreement. The war within me is over. I drop to my knees in front of him, my hands hovering over his grievous wounds. Tears stream down my face, washing away the last of the cold warden and leaving only Alara. I accept you, Kaelin. I whisper, my voice thick with emotion. I accept this bond. I press my hands against his chest. The moment my skin touches his, the bond, fractured and rejected for so long, snaps into place with the force of 1,000 lightning strikes. It is no longer a source of pain, but a roaring river of pure power. My moonfire, cold and silver, surges from my hands, but it is met by his alpha essence, a torrent of golden sun-like energy rising from him even as he weakens. The two powers intertwine, silver and gold, moon and sun, creating something new, something whole. A blinding light erupts from us, washing over the battlefield. It is a wave of pure, concentrated life and power. It slams into the Umbral Lord, and the creature of shadow shrieks as it dissolves into nothingness. The lesser beasts evaporate like mist in the morning sun. The unnatural cold recedes, and the oppressive darkness lifts. The light pours into Kaelin's wounds, the silver fire of my magic cauterizing the damage, while his own alpha healing, now supercharged by the completed bond, knits flesh and bone back together. The black poison of the shadow magic is burned away, leaving behind clean, healing skin. He gasps, his body arching, the power of our joined souls flooding him, replenishing him, making him whole. He lifts his head, his silver eyes wide with wonder and relief. The gaping wounds are gone, replaced by 3 faint silvery scars that shimmer on his chest, a permanent reminder of his sacrifice. He reaches up and cups my face, his thumb wiping away my tears. Ilara, he breathes, his voice filled with a reverence that makes my heart ache. My Kaelin, I reply, and I lean in and claim his lips. The kiss is not one of desperation or hunger, but of homecoming. It is the sealing of a promise, the end of a long and painful exile. The bond settles between us, no longer a screaming void or a painful thread, but a warm, steady, unbreakable cord of gold and silver light. We are scarred, yes, we are changed, but we are finally, completely whole. Our return to the Silver Moon Pack is not as I had imagined in my darkest moments. I do not return as a beggar or a ghost. I return at Kalen's side, not behind him, but as his equal. The Citadel warriors and the Ashengard guards march together, a unified force under a dual command. When we arrive, the pack gathers. Their sense a confused mix of fear, awe, and uncertainty. They see their Alpha King, stronger and more vibrant than he has been in years. And they see me, the wolfless Omega they shunned, now radiating a power that makes the air around me hum. Kalen leads me to the same spot where he rejected me. He turns to face his people, his hand holding mine, our combined power, a palpable aura around us. 3 years ago, on this spot, I committed the greatest sin an Alpha can, he says, his voice ringing with authority and humility. I broke a sacred bond out of fear and pride. I banished the other half of my soul. My weakness brought the shadow upon our lands and nearly led us to ruin. He turns to me, his eyes full of a love so profound it takes my breath away. This is Ilara, my mate, my Luna. She is not wolfless. She is a power this world has not seen in 1,000 years. She is the Lunar Queen, and she saved us all. She saved me from myself. Her forgiveness I have not earned, but her place as my equal, she has commanded. He then does something that shocks his entire pack to the core. He bows to me, a low, formal bow of fealty. The Alpha King, bowing to his Luna in front of everyone. It is not an act of submission anymore. It is an act of ultimate respect. It is a public declaration that our dynamic has been permanently rewritten. We are not a king and his consort. We are a partnership. One by one, the pack members, from the highest ranking enforcers to the lowest omegas, drop to one knee. The scent of scorn and pity that once choked me is gone, replaced by the heady, overwhelming scent of absolute loyalty. They are not just bowing to me as their alpha's mate. They are bowing to me as a power in my own right. The girl who was cast out from the mud has returned as a queen. 6 months later, I stand on the grand balcony of the Ashengard Citadel, overlooking the capital city. The kingdom is thriving. The land is healing, nourished by the balanced power of a complete alpha pair. The citadel of the veiled moon is no longer hidden. It is an allied territory, its people trading their knowledge of magic for the shifter's protection. Lysander is their ambassador, and his letters speak of peace and prosperity. Kalen comes to stand behind me, wrapping his arms around my waist. He rests his chin on my shoulder, his familiar scent of pine and winter storm a constant comfort. The bond is a warm, steady hum between us, a quiet song of belonging. He traces the faint, silvery scars on his own chest with my fingers. They remind me every day, he says softly, of the price of pride and the miracle of grace. They remind me that the man I love was willing to die for me, I reply, turning in his arms to face him. The man he became is the one I choose, every day. I will spend the rest of my life earning that choice, he vows, his expression earnest and solemn. His hand comes up to cup my cheek, his touch gentle. I will never take you for granted again. I place my hand over his, and I will spend my life healing with you. We are not the people we were, Kalen. We are something new, something stronger, forged in fire and shadow. He leans down, and his kiss is soft, full of promise for the dawns to come. The scars of our past are not gone. They are part of our story, a testament to the devastating journey we took to find our way back to each other. The wound was deep, the suffering immense, but the healing has been profound. We are not perfect. We are earned. We are scarred. But standing here in the heart of our kingdom, with our souls finally at peace, we are whole. And our story, once a tragedy of rejection, has finally become a song of redemption.